Welcome to Fast Effect Doublespeed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have David on Most versus Patrick on, I believe, Omnitel. We'll see as the game unfolds. I just had like my first negative interaction with a customer. It's crazy. Like in a brick and mortar setting here, like guy came in trying to offer me like below buy list on reserve list cards in the middle of the pandemic. And he's got his mask hanging down over with his nose hanging out. Like, I was just like, this guy is like freaking, where's the hidden camera? You got to be kidding me. Unreal. And then, yeah, I'm not even going to get into it. I'm just incredulous. Like, we usually have just awesome customers, awesome interactions. And I don't know. Just incredible. I'm like never rude to people. Literally told them to take a hike. We've got a Aether Vial off of Basic Island. Patrick on Omnitel. Aether Vial perhaps being contemplated if Patrick wants to stop any other creatures from entering the battlefield. Stopping Aether Vial, pretty much the only way you're going to do that. So no, it has resolved, and we've got... Actually, no, this is not looking like Omnitel. Maybe this is Depths. It's probably Turbo Depths. Meeting a bunch of new players. We've got people playing from Texas, California, New Jersey, New York, and Thoughtseize here, finding a Fauna Shaman or a Sanctum Prelate, depending on the texture of Patrick's hand. Either one of them an option. And it looks like it's going to be a faster hand. Really, Fauna Shaman's the more reasonable option there, period, given the mana situation. A Pithing Needle, I think is how people in the last video recommended the card be pronounced. Pith, like Sith, I believe was the comment. And we've got an Abrupt Decay in response. Aether Vial ticks up. And now Sylvan Library. Next turn, this Sanctum Prelate's going to be able to come down, and David would be hellbent if not for the Sylvan Library drawing... Well, he'll draw a card per turn, plus potentially two more, as really life only matters in increments of 20 in this matchup. The difference between being at 16 or 12 and 20, pretty much identical. Getting over 20, though, can be very relevant. There are a couple of little interactions that can happen in Legacy, which can be very problematic for a Dark Depths token, Merit Lage. Really want to be one-shotting people. And, rough. Verdant Catacombs. I mean, maybe Patrick has a Spirit Guide to be able to accelerate. But as it stands right now, there's going to be all sorts of ways that this can go wrong. A Wasteland would be another one. We've got Leovold being put in. Another crop rotation would be a possibility. There's not actually much that could be done to stop that if Patrick does have access to crop rotation. I suppose the way you'd want to do that is using your mana to cast Leovold, and then if that fetch land gets cracked, respond with the Sanctum Prelate, and then potentially be able to name one and stop a crop rotation. That is one of the only drawbacks of those fetch lands. They are really just some of the best Magic cards ever printed by a pretty wide margin. I mean, they are just so incredibly good. But they can be responded to. Oh, lost camera. Skip ahead. All right, so Patrick is back. He sacked that Verdant Catacombs, finding a bayou. Now drawing for turn. Still needs a mana. Oh, and there's crop rotation, so that will do it. Urborg will allow for a 2020 Merit Lage. However, let's not discount the ability of this Birds of Paradise to block and give David some additional time. 2020 Merit Lage on board. Block. Now untap up to 4. Sylvan Library, seeing a bunch of cards here. Looks like he may have what he needs. And that fetch land wasn't sacked, so maybe he actually had what he needed on top of the library. What would be 4 mana that he could put in here? Maybe some angel or something. All sorts of things. Yeah, Shalai. I think it's Shalai. Another chump blocker. And now fetching. Patrick, not too much of a threat aside from the 2020. So a stream of chump blockers. It's actually helpful. There's a slight interaction with Elish Norn shrinking Merit Lage that can happen when you are at like 19 or 20 life. But that is not to be here as Dark Depths takes down game number 1. Yeah, Turbo Depths is really, I think, just such a cool deck. I've actually really enjoyed kind of bringing people into Legacy by showing them the different types of combo decks that are possible. Partially because it gives them a chance to win. Like combo decks, if you get the real basics down, you're going to have some games where you just, oops, like I win, like this totally went according to plan. And that can be really fun for people when they're starting to splash around with the most powerful cards in the format. A lot of the time people kind of end up needing to play some of the lower power level decks when they first get going in Legacy, and that was a little bit of a bummer for me to see just how much Lion's Eye Diamond has gone up. Now, that's how it works. I'm totally fine with it, but there is a casualty there of like Belcher not being a entry-level deck anymore. That was actually like a Belcher and Affinity were 2 decks that I used to start people out on all the time. I can't even tell you how many times I've sold people Belcher or Affinity. Now it's mostly, you're pretty much starting out with like Burn, occasionally Manaless Dredge. Those are pretty much the smallest investment. Burn right now, though, holy cow, talk about discounted pricing. I mean, Goblin Guide, like that card was a legit expense now. I mean, he is just completely crushed in price. I mean, you could go all out and get, the box toppers at this point, and you're still not spending what the card used to cost. And Burn is a legitimate contender. There's a lot of percentage points that people throw away when they're playing Burn. I will say, playing it slightly suboptimally makes a pretty big difference. You do end up just losing games that you could win. And man, that's hard to make up. Just kind of has that element of a combo to it. Like Burn is kind of assembling a combo of 20 plus damage to the face. Similar to how Depths here is assembling a Dark Depths in a way to remove all of the counters. We'll see what else Most has for tools to deal with this. Maybe not. Maybe Dark Depths will just have a super fast win and I'll be out of here early. Patrick considering the hand. Thoughtseize so good in these decks. He's got a mull again, down to 5. Bird's Paradise, a solid start for most. And a Thespian Sage along with a Lotus Petal. 2 mana for a Sylvan Scrying. And grabbing a Bayou. Interesting. Would have expected an Urborg before a Bayou. We'll see what green spells Patrick needs to make this work. Hopefully it's not an Elvish Reclaimer, as David probably has a lot of ways of answering that, even post-board. Sanctum Prelate coming down, and it looks like X equals 1. Thespian Sage, just a really fun Magic card. The ability to copy basic lands in response to Wasteland is hilarious. And now Scrib Ranger. I'm wondering if it was supposed to be a crop rotation during the end step, then hoping to have another land. Patrick may be stranded with the 1 casting cost cards in his hand with probably not a whole lot of ways of removing these opposing threats. He may have Abrupt Decays. Postboard and Fauna Shaman getting ready to do her thing. Looks like we'll probably get to see what Most is actually all about. Dark Depths. Oh, and now it feels like if that was an Urborg, Patrick would be able to make a 20/20 during the end step. And David has everything he needs on board here. The Scrib Ranger's ability to untap Birds of Paradise going to be very important, as it'll allow for another land drop and untapping of the Birds of Paradise. We'll see what David grabs. Oh, he's actually going to be able to just grab a Peacekeeper. And we'll see what Patrick does here. If this is just a concession, then Patrick is not going to have any way of actually removing Peacekeeper. David can definitely go wide enough that he can get past a single Merit Lage. Especially with Elish Norn making everything +2/+2. I mean, there's easily a world in which David just swings and goes wide. And Giver of Runes is going to close the door here for any type of removal. Yeah, all right. I mean, this feels like David's actually got this one. I think I actually did that backwards. Patrick won the first game, right? Made a 20/20, chump block, Sylvan. Yeah, there was no answer found. All right. So David's fighting for game number 2. Looks like he's going to have it. Patrick may just let a bunch of time off the clock here, which would be a totally sound decision. I mean, Turbo Depths can win very, very quickly. Most, not so much. Especially if David has a trump card here with the Peacekeeper. If Patrick's not going to be able to answer Peacekeeper post-board for whatever reason, then realistically you just want to have, I don't know, what do you think is optimal? 3 minutes maybe for the playing of game number 3? Wow, and Tomic as well. Patrick also, even if he has no outs here, getting a ton of information about what he might have to face down. And here we've got Tomic making it even more difficult for Dark Depths to combo. And now just going to make a 20-20. I'm not clear what that Caracas interaction was. Did not make a 20-20 though. Vampire Hexmage. Five cards in hand. And I think David, at this point, pretty much can go ahead and establish a win. He's pretty close to that. Tomic is going to prevent the Dark Depths combo from happening, right? Pretty sure. Or maybe I'm wrong. Let's look up Tomic. Yeah, lands on the battlefield and in the graveyard can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponent control. Your opponent can't play lands from graveyards. An oddly specific piece of hate that they printed back in War of the Spark. I got a feeling somebody probably had a rough go with Dark Depths or something. Because that pretty well stops the entire combo. This Caracas attempting to bounce Tomic, Giver of Runes, playing defense. But the Peacekeeper, really the main issue. Which, did he let go? Oh, I think he did. Yeah, it's on top of the discard pile. I can barely see it. Yeah, he just freed up his mana, letting it go. And looks like it's going to be time to just send in Tomic. Marique Barrett. Just another very difficult to deal with card here for Depths. I mean, Caracas could do the job if it wasn't for the Giver of Runes, but yeah, this is just getting more and more comical here as Patrick's chances of winning this game. I mean, it would be incredible. It would have to be a remarkable series of misplays. I don't even know. Like, you'd have to make like multiple errors. You know, even just a Giver of Runes with the Birds of Paradise is going to be able to hold off a Merit Lage for quite some time. And now we've got a Plague Engineer. Damage coming across. Yeah, David just not interested in using the Elish Norn damage boost. Maybe he's sideboarded it out. I actually think it's fine. I think it's probably totally fine to have in the deck. I'm not sure what he'd be bringing in over it. But I mean, it does stop the Hex Mages as being a line of reanimation. I mean, it is soft to Caracas. That might be part of the reasoning. That it's not actually going to stick around indefinitely. But yeah, David picking that game up. Patrick now has maybe 10 minutes or so for this last game. So David will need to play much faster if he wants to get a W here, which is kind of the position you want to be in. We don't see as much of this with the webcam events. I think I don't want to make it sound like people aren't trying to play their best Magic, because I think people are. I just think everybody's pretty chill given the understandings of the technical limitations of the way that we're playing. I mean, in a tournament setting, you know, like you're in the shop and we're playing and there's thousands of dollars worth of prizes on the line. It's a different thing to kind of be conscious of the clock and wait and try and like play as precisely as possible, to play as, you know, optimally as you can. You know, if you do that and then your webcam drops out, that's kind of a mess. Like you can't really go quite as full tilt when we're playing over webcam. And also, of course, you know, we really do need a great crowd of people, which is what we have. I mean, we've had like 14 people playing on Wednesday night, which was awesome. We've got a couple of new people signed up from California for this upcoming one. So, I mean, I can't wait until we have to start making more tables. I got like seating for 16 laid out in the Discord. I cannot wait until we've got to make more. I think very likely that we'll be able to continue growing this with your support. And Wizards has no intention of in-store play until at least the middle of November, which honestly I don't think it's going to happen this holiday season. I think we're just going to go through the Christmas season without in-store play, which is all the more reason to get going with your webcam events, either with your friends or, you know, hopefully joining us as well over our Discord. Sylvan Library off of a Spirit Guide for Patrick. We'll see how many he opts to draw. The power level of Sylvan Library just dramatically shifted with the printing of the fetch lands. I know that sounds like ancient history, but they still, for me, I remember when they came out, what an incredible card they were. It took other people a lot longer to catch on. I was actually playing Land Grant already, so for me, I was just, you know, it was full on, you know, Rorschach and Watchmen, just, you know, telling everybody the end is nigh. I was like, you gotta understand what a big deal this is, because it truly was. I mean, Fetchlands just changed the game. It changed the relationship of what it means to have colored requirements in your cards. And, of course, the thing that people didn't understand was just how important it is to be able to shuffle your library, especially with Brainstorm. But Sylvan Library gets that bump as well. When you're looking at those top 4 cards, those top 3 cards, and they're kind of the same, every turn you're just floating 2 dead ones. Not a big deal. When you shuffle and you're going to see 3 free cards each turn, and you're potentially going to be able to just pay 8 life to get 2 extra cards, I mean, that card on a whole nother level. I've been very impressed with Sylvan Library and Legacy for quite some time. Actually running it in Omnitel, or Eurekatel, I should say. David here has assembled Giver of Runes and Scavenging Ooze. Scavenging Ooze could potentially be used to get out of range. Oh, and here we go. Vampire Hexmage along with Dark Depths. This is a very dangerous situation for David. Not enough creatures in the graveyard to be able to go anywhere. There'll be a Vampire Hexmage, which will be 1 point of life. If David was exactly at 20, that is one of the drawbacks of Hexmage in the deck. That can happen. We've got Scavenging Ooze sending. And no blocks. End step. Making a 20/20. The coast is clear on board. David at 18. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get above 20. Patrick thinking about any possible way he could lose here. Likely just going to turn his guy sideways and claim the W. Or his feet will drop out again. Let's skip ahead. All right, he is back. And now Merit Lage turns sideways. And that will do it as Patrick takes down this Wednesday Night Legacy, going undefeated with Turbo Depths. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.